This meeting is being recorded by the Greenfield Human Rights Commission and City of Greenfield. If any other persons present is doing the same, you must notify the person at this time. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the roll call of members. Vice Chair is present today. You want to do roll call?
Peggy? Here. Linda? Here. Paul?
Here.
Kathleen?
Here.
Empress?
Present.
And I am here. Everybody's here.
Awesome, thank you so much. Approval and review of the May 15th minutes. Did everybody have time to review the minutes? Don't want to take this time to say, Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well
I
done.
appreciate it.
So motion to approve the minutes from May 15th. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Peggy?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Empress?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Okay. Public comment, nobody's here for public comment, so we could just go straight down the line. New business, I'm gonna pass it over to Linda first for new business.
Oh, new business.
Yes.
All right. I attended, not this past Saturday, a week ago, nonviolence training at GCC. And it was done really, really well. I didn't know what to expect. I made it until 3 o'clock, started like at 9:30. When I'm done, I'm done. So it's just kind of like, trying to gut it out for the last hour was not going to happen. But it was very well done. They did some role playing. They did a lot of talking about affinity groups, the whole message around nonviolence, how we take care of each other, all of these kinds of things. So my thought around it after doing it, and I didn't want to put it on the agenda ahead of time, because if the training if I didn't find it valuable, I wasn't going to suggest it. But I think it's clearly a human rights issue. I think it would make sense for the commission to attend a training. But rather than it just being us, and I also talked to the trainer who said that, there are lots of different possibilities, but possibly planning in the fall or whenever we consider doing it, as we're reaching out to other human rights commissions in Western Massachusetts, that this be offered, whether we decide we're going to do a 2-hour version or whatever we come up with, that we offer it as a training for ourselves and for other HRCs. I mean, when you see what's happening in LA, you see what's happening in cities and towns all over the country. It's going to get something that we'd be prepared for, even if we're not necessarily participating in a particular event. Because, with affinity groups and these kinds of things, a lot of these groups have people who simply support the people who are actually protesting. So if somebody's hauled off or somebody's, or an incident happens, that person also has support. And I just thought the whole thing was fascinating. So something to consider going forward. I can forward to you the packet of information that was sent to everyone who participated, so you can kind of read through it. There's a massive list of readings and articles and whatever that I haven't even attempted to take a look at. But it just might be something of interest.
Thank you, Linda.
There we go.
Yes, Nate.
Oh, never mind. I'll do it when I do my updates.
Okay. Okay, any other new business? Yes, I was gonna ask you if you wanted to, because I know there was a meeting on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it something additional? I just wanted to comment on that. A long time ago, in a high school where I taught, there was another 2 teachers who ran an interdisciplinary program called the African American Experience. And it was a great program because about 1/3 of the kids were African American, 1/3 were Latinx, and 1/3 were white who took the program. And this one of the particular women, Yvonne Hilton, was in Mississippi as a college student in the 60s, and had taken the incredibly difficult nonviolent training. And so as part of this program, what they did was they did a lot of wonderful things. But one of the things they did nonviolent training with every student, and every parent knew this was going to occur.
Mhm.
And the training that she went through and that every student went through, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you that, what was, the most horrendous. When you talk about role play, they yelled and screamed at each other. The worst, if you were white, you were being screamed at about that. If you were Black, you were being screamed at about that. And the kids knew each other. So they knew things to say that would really
Yeah.
piss each other off. And it took them a few weeks till they got to the place where she said, well, if this was 1965, you could come, to Mississippi with me.
Mhm.
Because, and the reason I talk about it is it's not going to be that kind of thing. What you're doing now, I know because I had that training for just civil rights rallies I was at and anti-war rallies I was at. So it's not that intense, but the effect it had on teenagers and young people, because some of them were almost 20,
Mhm.
was life-changing in the sense of they could control themselves no matter what was going on.
Mhm.
They could be in control of themselves. They would do what they wanted and needed to do, not what other people were.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm saying this is it's in addition to, it's a skill you need if you're going to be,
Right.
in some kind of protest thing. Lord knows I needed it, but it's a number of times we were tear gassed. But I think it's something that's great for people in general.
The person who was within that little heckling piece of that, just when that was over, looked at me and she said, boy, you stay really grounded. And I just sort of went, well, first of all, nobody's dragging me out of here. But I've heard almost all of it anyway,
Mhm.
for one reason or another.
Okay.
And so there's not a whole lot you can say that's when,
Mhm.
and actually, sometimes the calmer you stay, the more pissed off the other person
Oh,
gets.
absolutely.
Because they're looking for a fight.
Mhm.
So it was fascinating. And yes, I think it's something that students should be doing,
Yeah.
as well. But I think from a commission standpoint, it's informative, and, you take away from it whatever you want, but it's really, and I would assume that there are a whole bunch of us that, may have been doing some of these things, many years ago.
But I'm sure they do better.
Right.
True.
And I was very impressed with the trainers. I was just really impressed with, I've done training. So, I was just really impressed as how they handled, there were 45 people there,
Mhm.
how they handled the room, the whole vibe of it, the pace. They just did a good job.
All right, so, I know you said you have the documents, you would send it over to us so we can look over.
Right. So I'm assuming I have permission to email it
Yes,
to
yes.
everybody.
So, like I told, Linda today, she discussed with me, so I was like, because, I know Linda's gonna be away for July, so by the time she comes back, it could be on the agenda for August. Okay? Jackie?
Yes, so I got, the commission said we wanted to have homelessness as a focus, ending homelessness as a focus. And I got an invitation from the ad hoc committee on homelessness
Mhm.
to join them last Thursday.
Mhm.
And I was so impressed with them. The work they're doing with doing everything from trying to help people become housed to finding lockers, to more toilets, to more just basic things that people need. There's another meeting, there's an ongoing meeting that I'll attend, and I'd love to invite any of you who are free to come to join this. Some of us want to invite some of the unhoused people to have a part in this too, to say what they need, because I mean, this is their lives more than mine. So it was really impressive, the outreach people have done, the thoughtfulness, and respect, in contrast to what I'm seeing on the news. The respect for people is just palpable, and I was just very happy to be a part of it. And I can give you the date if I.
Account.
The 9th of June, because that's today. Okay, it's Thursday, the 26th of June at 10 o'clock in this room.
And I don't mean to sound uninformed, but what exactly is the ad hoc
And where is it taking? I'm sorry, where?
here?
Yes. It was formed by, it's a subcommittee of
I think she said
the
10 a.m.
City Council.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't positive.
Thursday.
Thursday.
26th.
26th.
At 10 a.m. And who sits on it? Just those emailing here.
Let's see, there's a woman named Wisty. There's a man, Pamela Goodwin is on it. Sarah Brown.
But they're not all on city council.
Sarah Brown is on.
Sarah Cal.
Right, but
Brown
Pam
is-
isn't, right?
No, no, it's an ad hoc group,
Okay.
but it is under the open meeting law because it's a.
Mhm.
Great. I'd love to try and come, but I'm not sure. Thursday I babysit. As much as he enjoys a meeting, there's only so many meetings he can go to.
Yes.
He has 10 months.
Okay.
What I particularly liked was us being a part of them so that we were out of our silo,
Right.
just talking among ourselves
Right.
about
Mhm.
homelessness, but with the people who have actually been doing the good, hard work.
The GCC event this morning had a whole section on homelessness and a lot of data. And those slides were sent to me and to Empress.
That'll be great to look at.
Can we distribute those as well? Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
I don't know. I'm just reporting back on the events that Linda and I were at the farmer's market.
Oh, we didn't get to the.
Oh, I didn't know if it was new, that's, I should have prefaced it, new business or event where I report.
Yeah, that's gonna be on.
No
item
worries, I'm
4.
good. Sorry.
Okay, so updates from the mayor's office?
We're good. I'm
Okay.
tired. Been a long week.
Congratulations to Grady.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
Great.
congratulations.
He
So
won
exciting.
He won
Huge.
bronze at the Special Olympic States. He qualified for states a few weeks ago,
So
so
exciting.
he won bronze in the 100-meter dash. And Angie Mass had several students there to cheer him on too, which was very sweet. So I was very excited to be in Boston and compete against kids from all over the state. So he made
I
one
bet.
bronze.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Bravo.
I just have a couple of things. One of them was going to be under old business, but because we're about to go through the meeting, I'm just gonna jump into it now. Basically it was established, that if you want to speak, that the chairperson has to call on you, so therefore there's like no more speaking out of turn. The reason for that is to have a order instead of different people just have an open conversation, we have to remember, so like if somebody's, like take for instance, if Paul's bringing up a topic, right? And say Nate wants to comment on the topic. Instead of having across the table conversation, Nate will raise his hands and then I would address Nate to comment. It helps to keep order in the meeting so that everybody's just not talking over each other. Okay, the second thing I would like to talk about as far as a topic or update. I'm currently in the process later on this year, at the beginning of 2026, putting together a coalition of Black and Brown members of the community. There's a lot of reasons for this, because if we're talking about Black and Brown community members are not coming to City Hall meetings or taking a part in a lot of the activities that's here, because number one, they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel welcome. I think it's very important that everybody in our community has a voice and has leadership. As far as people in leadership positions that they can come to. This coalition is not going to be a branch per se of government. It would be more so like a support to the administration or the government, but it would operate separately. Some of these people who I'm going to be looking to recruit in this coalition would be Kydra. A lot of people know Kydra. Another one would be Tracy Talbot for Franklin County CDC, Gloria Matlock from Twice as Smart. I just went blank. Stephanie, I'm gonna talk to Stephanie. That's Maria Burgess' daughter. I know a lot of information as far as the community goes. And basically, just because it's Black and Brown leaders, I would definitely like to have other people be a part of that. I know Kim would be great for that as well, you know, because she comes with a lot of knowledge as well. So, but the basic component is so that people of color would have a group of people who they could come to and they feel heard and understood. And I think that's really, really important, because if you go to Hampton County, there's something for them there. You go to Hampshire County and there's coalition set up for Black and Brown people. You come to Franklin County, what do we have in 2025? Nothing. And not only that, but you have to think about, we have a younger generation of Black and Brown students that needs to see people that looks like them in leadership roles and working together to solve some of these problems. And especially if you talk about discriminatory practices in school, sometimes you really can't depend on other people to fight your fight for you if they've never walked in your shoes. So therefore, we're going to be doing a lot of this stuff coming together. And I mean, like I said, another one is Larry, that works at the Wildflower Alliance. Another one would be Don, because those are Brown operation individuals who go out and work with homeless people, okay? Getting tents, getting supplies and everything would bring a whole different kind of knowledge within this group. So it would be definitely empowering, it would be educational, it would be uplifting. And I think it's great to uplift the marginalized community members and let them know that there's people here that understand what you're going there and give them a voice too. I think that's ever so needed. And like I said, hopefully by the end of this year or the beginning of January, when we get everything together, I'll call together like the meeting, speak with like, set up something with Aaron and Jenny and basically make my proposal there. So like I said, it wouldn't operate as a governmental body, but it would operate more so like a community body that would support the government as far as Black and Brown individuals in our community. Yes, Kathleen.
Question, do they have to live in Greenfield?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so, but I didn't know if all those people,
Or
I thought
Franklin
with,
County.
well, because my daughter-in-law is, you know, a
Mhm.
Black woman and
Mhm.
she's very successful, not saying that, and very knowledgeable. And
Mhm.
I know she went to whatever and has biracial children and she lives in Deerfield.
Okay,
If
yeah.
you want me to
Yes.
ask her, do you know her, Ashani?
No.
You've seen her at the, we go to a lot of sporting events.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I could bring it up to her.
Okay, yeah.
And I also know, do you know the Freelands? Rose Freeland is a GCC person. She has, Monica lives in Chicago, but her daughter Raya is also biracial, was brought up. They were both brought up in Greenfield. She lives in Bernardston. And she, they're lovely people.
Mhm.
Might,
Yeah.
be involved in some community
Oh,
outreach.
yeah. And
Okay.
I mean, like I said, yes. thank you,
Yeah,
Kat.
sure.
Yes. And
I was actually gonna ask them something similar because I wanted to know, you had mentioned Hampshire County, and I wanted to know if you saw this more as a Greenfield exclusive event or a Franklin County event. We could also reach out to FERCog
Mhm.
and, obviously
Sorry.
I have, Indigenous
Mhm.
contacts that would be
Absolutely.
helpful.
Mhm.
I think especially in spaces like that, having an Indigenous person that does not look like me can be very helpful as well,
Mhm.
because,
Yeah.
the presence of a white person from that community can diminish voices sometimes. So I think that's fair to say. It'd be better if there were a Black or brown Indigenous person there.
Yes, I will definitely keep the body updated as we go forward. Thank you. Updates from the vice chair.
Sorry, I was.
Oh, sorry, Jackie.
Before we leave that, how does this fit under our mandate? I mean, I love the idea,
As far as,
this non-governmental, is this an advisory board?
it has nothing to do with government. It has to do with Black and brown community members coming together and forming their own independent coalition.
Uh-huh.
So it's not under any government. It's not under anything. It's community run for community members.
Thank you.
But I could see at some point a representation of that group presenting to the Human Rights Commission, presenting to whether it's city council or
Mhm.
whatever, and that could be very positive.
Definitely could. Definitely could. So that's it for me. Nate?
Um, so the Students for the Stop the Hate Coalition, we've been super swamped and busy with AP exams and finals this week. So I hope and plan, I'm gonna be tabling a lot this meet and greet. So I'm gonna have a sign up sheet, I'm gonna have all that. So when I have all that, I'll email and we'll make a meeting separately in the beginning of the school year. With the students and so on. With going back with the nonviolence stuff, I want to bring this to the table because I've been doing research of other commissioners around Western Massachusetts, and I found a commission in Northampton. I didn't know if it'd be appropriate. I didn't want to ask everybody if it would be appropriate if I would email the chair and attach everybody on it to see if maybe we can meet up with them or have a combined meeting or something. I don't know, to discuss not politics, but discuss policies that we think would fit between two cities. And to have that nonviolence like you spoke about and to work with the group that you're trying to build up to make sure that they know that Franklin County has a commission who works around those issues and who can work around those issues together instead of being separated. And so that was something that I had in mind this past weekend when I was doing some research on that. Yes.
Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, no, one of the things that was brought up at the last meeting was identifying the human rights commissions in Western Massachusetts. And then, at some point fielding an invitation, so that as one, finding out how many there are.
Yeah.
How far away,
Mhm.
they are within Western Mass. If they're all sitting in Pittsfield. Like I said, that could be a little challenging. And working towards finding out what they do, how they do it, what the policies are in their communities, and creating more of a mass of people who are committed to this, rather than it kind of being scattershot. So, yes, we take, it's a great idea. We take it seriously and we're working on, and I think we'll flush that out a little more, maybe even tonight. as,
Correct.
Who's going to do a little bit of the research around what's happening.
And,
I said something.
go ahead, Catherine. You got the last
Oh,
one.
I also go to playgroup and there's a lot of Latino families there. I could when it's time, like quite a few, really
Okay.
nice.
Okay,
And that might be a good resource. And they're young. I think it would be great to have, not that we're not all wonderful and Nate is our young person, but aside from you, I would hesitate to say we're all over 50.
okay.
I'm being generous.
Yes.
So I think it would be great to have some people like under 40, like in that 25 to 45. And I feel like, of course, this is just me, like, that's a hard age group to grasp because they're raising their kids and you don't have as much time and all of it. But I think it's important to be represented by all generations. I think it would be great.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Of
Thank you,
course.
Linda. Nate, those are all great ideas. I would,
Excuse me. So
I would have, I'm going to agree with Linda here because we already started a conversation about me reaching out to, other HRCs. And like a conversation like that should be had between me and you first, and then I would reach out and we could have that conversation with them together versus the vice chair reaching out to the chair, that we just all keep it on the.
Yeah.
Right. But like I said, but because we already started this conversation in May's meeting, it's so funny how it came right back into play, right? So definitely, I mean, like if you definitely want to take the lead on that as far as getting the information about neighboring, where the HRCs, who's the chair, co-chair, and get the contact information together. Because you've already started researching. If you want to do that, that's fine. Because when we come back to it and we're ready to do that, the information will already be there. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nate. See, you wasn't even there and you just came jumping right in where, yes, okay, so we're gonna jump right into topics of discussion. T-shirt logo,
I can help you with this a little bit.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of towns in Western Mass, it's some significant, we can talk about it.
yeah, because what we were talking about is like all of the HRCs throughout Pioneer Valley. So that's gonna be a big.
There's more
project.
than you think,
I know, yeah.
All right, okay.
which is great.
Mhm. So for T-shirt logo, jumping down to topics of discussion. The first thing I'm bringing back up as far as T-shirt logo, we did table that till July, but I just wanted to speak about it again. Because school is now out. So, the reason why we tabled the T-shirt logo is we're going to basically network with the schools. To have some kind of a, what's the word? Competition?
Contest.
Yeah, like a contest, to create a new HRC logo. Erin, did you ever hear back from that as far as, or? Follow. That's okay. So, I'll follow up, note to self, follow up with Matt about that. It basically, he said that's a go, because I just have to make sure that it's clear because we are a city body, so as soon as. It's a go? Well, Aaron said it's a go, so I'll just scratch that off. Okay. So therefore, it's gonna be tabled till July. So July, we can start putting together because school starts in August. So by the time that school starts, we can hit the ground running. As far as this contest and how we want it worded and stuff like that. Okay, any more discussion on that or?
I'm gonna be out of town in July.
Right.
But
Mhm.
I may be able to zoom in,
Mhm.
for
Yes.
part of the meeting. I have no idea how good the Wi-Fi connection will be where I am.
Okay.
So
Yes, Kathleen?
Should we do a prize? I mean, I can donate a prize. I think kids love prizes.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, that would
Okay,
be
I can
nice.
donate a prize.
It would have to be under $50.
Yeah, right, like maybe a gift card to like a pizza shop and a free T-shirt,
Greenfield Games. would be-
Greenfield, like something, you know what I mean, like that, right? And I'd be happy to, I think that would be
You guys
cute.
also have a small budget.
Right, we do, it's
Well,
really
it is-
small, so that's why I can
Yeah.
donate and then I'll just go.
Kathleen, so this could be something that we also discussed during the July meeting.
Sure, yeah, I just thought it popped into my crazy head.
Okay, yes, Patrick.
I think the prize is you're the one who win and your logo is on all of our shirts.
I think that's part of it too.
But pizza is good too.
Kids love pizza.
Good.
Okay,
I,
oh, sorry, yes, Paul.
no,
You don't like the prize?
I do like the prize. I think it should be money. And I think that these artists should be treated as adults, which they are. When I say adults, young adults, um, we're talking about a professional logo and we're not looking for scratches.
Right.
We're looking for somebody who can make something that's is
Beautiful.
going to represent a commission of the city. And therefore it should be done professionally. And again, I taught high school for a very long time. And all students want to be is treated with respect. And if we were doing this with adults, they expect to be treated with respect, not to do it for nothing. Or pizza. But to really do it. That's just my point of view. I've heard that from students so many times over and over.
Hold on one second. I just want to, Aaron, would that even, because I know certain things don't fall under our budget. As far as what's not, refundable to us, like take for instance, the shirt, that's not coming back to us. So certain things would not, the clerk's office would not accept that as something that they would pay back.
I do not know, so I will make a note to
Okay.
ask tomorrow if, commissioning a logo design, which is essentially what this would be.
If that would fit under our budget.
If that would fit under the budget or not.
Okay, so what we would do in July is, I'm gonna call you back home. So what we would do in July is when we're talking about it, because we have to take into account how much our budget is. Right now, our budget is $500, so
Oh,
we have
yeah, that was my
to,
question.
right. So our budget is $500, so we really can't give our, a substantial amount if that's our whole year's operational budget too. So as far as, the money allowance is definitely great, but we just have to make sure that we have other events to do throughout the year. That's gonna be taken from that budget as well. So we could definitely discuss that. Yes, Nate, you have something to say?
I disagree with the money cash prize. I think gift cards for students is fine. I mean, a lot of things that we do at our high school competitions is gift cards. I mean, I just don't think that cash, I don't think we should be taking money out of our budget to give to students. Although, yes, they've worked hard on making a logo for us to wear. I just don't think that it's appropriate for, I just don't think it's appropriate, in my opinion. I think prizes of, $25 to a pizza or for them and their family to go get food, I think that's appropriate, because it's including everybody. I don't think it's appropriate for us to give out money. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Nate. Packy?
I just wanted, Dan, we're talking about this, we need a timeline. Because we're going to have a deadline by which time we need all the pictures and to make a decision. So we'll talk about that, I guess, in
July.
Yes.
but definitely do that, because otherwise this could get really just out there.
Yeah.
And I totally disagree with you most respectfully.
So what we could do, like I said, I definitely love the conversation. It's gonna be a very good conversation next month when we have this on the agenda. So, so yes, Linda?
I just have an economics question. Can someone donate a cash prize for something like this? Is that something that's possible within the town?
Because it's a donation, just like if Kathleen said that she. wanted
Right.
to-
I mean,
I
a
was gonna ask.
targeted donation, but I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody were to donate $150 or $200 as a prize for this particular project, is that possible?
So what we
Or
can do.
does that end up being, I don't know.
Yeah, so,
With conflict of interest and all.
so that could be one of the questions, that me and Aaron could work on to get an answer for next month when we start planning for it. and have an answer to that, how we can go forward. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so update to the Human Rights Commission brochure. Thank you, Packy. We decided because the International Declaration of Human Rights is so in-depth and so long that it would just be a hyperlink that would be on the new brochure, right? That somebody could just click on that hyperlink and go right to the international brochure, which we all did agree to. My next question is, does anybody want to do the hyperlink? An update to the current brochure?
I can update it.
Okay, so what I could do, Nate, is I could send you the PDF
Yes.
and you could just add the hyperlink.
Okay. On the bottom.
Yeah, like on the bottom, in the middle, on top, as long as it's there, that's fine. So, yeah, okay, so great on that. Okay, so Yes.
I just have a question. Does the city have anybody who can do a scannable hyperlink?
Yeah, you can,
Like a
Oh, like the
QR code?
QR code?
Yeah, QR code.
I mean, I think
We can make one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
you could do it
have
both ways.
both,
Yeah.
but
so you're saying QR code and a hyperlink,
yeah,
okay? So they could scan it with their phone. and-
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
instantly.
just
on
download
the
and
spot.
see it right there.
Okay. And hyperlink. So Nate, you know how to do both with the QR code?
I'll learn.
Okay.
Happens.
Oh, Nate. Okay, so next up, we have a motion. There's a motion to vote on the Human Rights Commission new award process. The documents were submitted at the May 15th meeting. Thank you, Paul, and there were no objections from the body. Did you get a chance to look?
I
at it?
didn't get a chance to look over the document.
Okay, so what we can do, we could table that until next month. Okay,
we actually have to act on them, but we can act on them without accepting them.
Were they on the minutes from last meeting,
from last month.
last month?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I
Or
included.
maybe I did look at them.
Okay.
I don't.
They were.
I'm sorry, but I didn't.
No
It's
problem.
okay, they were though.
Yeah, so we could just table this because, I mean, it's still just July. Could next month will still be July.
Right, we just
Yeah.
need to have all of those things together before August.
Right, by August.
Yeah, so,
And, but it's
Mhm.
5 different things, so.
Wow.
yeah, so like if, we'll just have to come prepared for it next month and just have everybody look over and just make sure we can put the vote through for next month and start.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm just saying we can do it without voting on it. It's just a process.
well, what it is, no, we do need a vote on it because it's changing from the original process. And and we're amending that process to have a new process, so it would have to be a vote to go through.
Right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, putting together an ad, having somebody go to the library and reserve the room, et cetera, et cetera. That's the same as the old process. It's the old, there's some
Right, we
things
can
that,
get started.
the form and what that is, that has to be voted on before we ever go anywhere near.
Well, just
Yeah.
a slight correction, that is a new process about the library. We never did it that way.
You never, once you decided on a date, you didn't try to get it, to get the room?
No, no. So what it was is that we never did, like, this whole library thing came up this year for this award ceremony. We
Right.
always did it at John's Law. So, that isn't done. We don't book that room till like October, November for December.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so like I'm saying, like this process, this new process, because, because it's the library and doing it that
Okay.
way. So that's why it would be a whole different
Okay,
process. So I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
yeah,
Yes, I can.
I think if we want it, we need to do it before the month before. If we want the library, we need to get it
right,
now
but, well,
or whatever.
it's
I think they have a 3-month lead time.
3 months, so.
Right, so it'd be like
Yeah.
August, yeah. So
So I agree. I think we did touch on that. It would be really nice to have a bigger space and to do it at the library in advance. So I mean, I just don't think this is a harm or foul thing. Could call, if for some reason it doesn't work out, you call the library as soon as possible and say we no longer need the room, but at least you have the reservation.
Right, but as I think Linda has said that they don't take reservations before 3.
I think they want.
They told me 6 months.
Oh, it's now
They like laughed
Good.
at me when I called, you know, they
Yeah.
thought I was hilarious.
So if we know the date,
I'll ask him, I'll go
if
there.
we have that December tenth date, that call can be made.
Right,
Just to make sure that the room's available.
yeah.
Okay.
And,
I go there at least once a week. Pam and I are buddies now and I'll,
and,
ask.
you know, and
They
put
thought I was
a
very-
hold on it.
Okay, so what we have right now, if I'm getting everything from everybody, is basically the actual process, but somebody's gonna go ahead and just make sure that they
Right.
put on hold for now. Okay, that's fine with
December
me.
10th,
And then we'll come back next month after
Wednesday.
everybody looks over the documents, and then we can just vote on the whole process at one time.
Right.
At least by that time, the date will already be set and we'll be good to go. Yes, Packy?
Let me just ask a perhaps silly question. We've decided on the library, not the Zahn Center.
No, it's gonna be the library. That's gonna be the new.
Yeah, so yes, we have decided we want to use the library.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, we could say that.
Yeah, so that host, which would have to be done, because we always had it at Johnson, because the HRC, we used to have a key there. So that's why a lot of our events was always at Johnson versus the old library. So if we're going to kind of cut that contract and not do our events there anymore and just utilize the library, then that process has to be noted in the minutes that we're no longer going to do our business at Johnson, that we're just going to start doing the process through the library. Okay?
And-
Yes, Becca.
And so do we want to add, I mean, we'll do the big human rights, the award for the person
Mhm.
and the award for the person who, the artist too, is that?
At the same time.
Yes.
I don't know that we've actually gotten quite that far.
Yeah, we haven't gotten
Yeah, I
that
don't
far.
think that would be a thing.
Okay, I just.
But we are
wanted to-
talking a fairly short timeline on the art piece, just because we
Because
don't
our,
want it dragging out a long time.
because our green shirts are blank. Thank you.
Yes, Nate?
Is there a reason why we're going to the library? I just want to know.
I think in hope of making it more of a major event than a minor. That's.
The second reason, the second reason is that when you run an event at the library, that the library will try to, and the library allows this, that given it's a city event, they would co-sponsor it. And once it's co-sponsored, then the Friends of the Library, we have a 1,300 mailing list.
Yeah.
And the library itself then advertises that consistently on their website
the
and
calendar,
on their email.
Right.
So
Publicity.
it adds tons of publicity without
Us doing.
us doing a lot. We should do our own publicity as well,
Absolutely.
but that just automatically kicks in.
Yes, Packy?
And Wednesdays are, I think there are other town meetings that go on Wednesdays, and then December 10th is a Wednesday, so the Zahn building will be in use.
Okay.
Could be, right?
Well, it could be.
Okay,
Full
so,
committee meeting that night.
okay, so Kathleen, you said you was gonna make the call. in the
Yeah.
next couple of days. Okay, and just let us know at the next meeting. Or you can just send everybody an email, so
I
at least
will.
give us a heads up if it's available for that.
And last year,
Mhm.
I mean, this past year, I feel like we did it at 5:30. Do we want to keep that time? Do we want to push it to 6?
We could discuss that.
Okay, all right. I don't think
so.
What you want to do anyway is ask for an hour.
Well, right, I know, an
And,
hour after. to
Pamela
So,
will,
yeah, I'll ask for 5, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, Kathleen, yes, Kathleen is gonna call the library within the next couple of days and just send us an email, just letting us know if we have it, so we have more of an idea what we're gonna do come next month, okay? All right, so, motion to vote regarding procedure for joining the Human Rights Commission. That was addressed both at the April 14th and May 15th meeting. Did everybody get a chance to look at that?
there was none. there was no procedure. We never.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't a written procedure. It was actually a discussion that we had for April 14th because what it was, we were speaking with Aaron
Yes.
is that we wanted to go back to the original way as far as submission of information to the body. And basically, when the individuals come through saying they want to join the HRC commission, just like before, it would be the chair and the mayor that would sit down and meet with the person. And like I said, and then the individual would have to come through, I believe we said a scheduled amount of meetings, 2 meetings, to know what they're getting into before they join the commission. So that was what we were speaking about, April 14th, April and May 15th. What I can do, I could table that. We have a lot of tables on next month. And basically I could write that out and just send it to everybody so we have more of an
Right.
idea. Okay, we could do it like that. Okay.
I would actually like to suggest, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I would like to suggest perhaps doing 1 meeting instead of 2. Because they still have to be approved by council and we don't want to drag it out several
Mhm.
months.
Okay, so the one, at least come to 1 meeting before you join.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they can decide, they can decide at that point if they want to proceed with a recommendation, because it does
Okay.
still have to go to council.
Okay, sounds good to me. All right, so I'll write that up tonight and send it out in the next couple of days, so at least we could have a draft and then we can talk about it, okay? So we're gonna table that one.
And I don't know what else was in there. I know I was asked to submit my resume. So,
Yeah, and that's usually what it is, like the information that they submit to the mayor. How it used to be is it would be submitted to the body, to us, and then we would all know who this person is and a little bit about the person. So when they come in, we know who they are. Right, and then the first meeting right, and then what happens the first meeting when they come to the first meeting, even though they're not a voting member per se, that's when they would do the introductions. We can introduce ourselves so they get to know who we are. We get to know this person. It's a lot more welcoming and inviting to the individual, just like I said, just whoop, there you are. So
How do people find out?
about the,
How do people find out that to,
But there's no.
Yeah. yes.
That's on the
In other
website.
words, yes, you could go on the website and yes, you can look at that. But that's not how I found out. That maybe that's how you found
no,
out.
that's not how I found out.
I'm saying, what is our procedure? Because
You mean
I
we-
don't see one.
We could table at certain events to get new members. I know I did some tabling at events that wasn't about the Human Rights Commission, but I asked people if they would be interested in being on the commission.
That's what I would have liked to have done today at GCC.
If you,
We did it at the farmer's market.
And that's what I'm saying, as part of the
Wait a minute,
procedure.
Just,
That's-
just.
Mhm.
It's also on the website, and if that's why when I tell people, hey, if you want to join the HRC, it's on the website. The procedures is what you need to do and how you need to do it, and there you go. And then that's how they submit their stuff. So
Okay, I think was Kathleen wants something to say, then Paul.
Oh, yeah, I actually saw it on Facebook. Like it came through on the website on Facebook because it was during the pandemic and it said, oh, we're looking for HRC members through the city of Greenfield. I've been at Blooming Greenfield booth. Linda and I did it. And I talk a lot. I at Pride didn't do as much as I wanted because I wasn't putting a table out in the pouring rain. But I did hand out some brochures and I did talk to people. And I have had a couple of people come up to me at different events. One was the Memorial Day Parade, because I go to a lot of things. And I've said to them, well, if you'd like to be involved, you can look into it. And I point them to the website. So, I talk about it a lot at different community events.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
I was just saying that needs to be part of the procedure.
Okay.
Right.
That's all I was saying, because I sat across the table from you and you started a discussion. But the idea is that when there are people actively need to go out and let it know, whether it be on Facebook or whether it be in person, as you're saying, but just part of the procedure, that's all.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, because I know the part as far as the single payer health care, that's gonna be more discussion. So we're gonna jump to public engagement, then jump into that discussion. So, update from subcommittees as far as education.
I have no updates.
Okay, there has been no grievances. So now we'll, jump into community projects and outreach. I believe Memorial Day and Beat Fest. You want to give an update?
Well, I handed out some brochures at Bee Fest in Memorial Day. I spoke to several people. I didn't have anyone say, oh, I definitely want to do it, but I did talk to people. People said they would think about it. I'd be thrilled if I could say, oh, yeah, so and so said they'd like to be on the committee, but I didn't get that response, unfortunately, yet. And Pride was so pouring. I think that would have been a really great venue, but it was so rainy.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
Today, was the three, county consortium of care tabling event. Stronger Together. Linda was there. I was there for Blue Mountains. Linda was there for HRC. I do want to take this moment just to say thank you, Linda, so much for being there. I really appreciate it. But on another night, I do want to say that, I understand that things come up, but I think it's really important that and I know things happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward the brochure to everybody. Because take for instance, like if I'm, on the event committee, then I would have the brochures and I would bring the brochures. But if I don't show up, what happens is the person or the people that's there at the table has nothing to hand out. So, this has happened a couple times. So what's going to happen, I'm just going to take it upon myself, make sure everybody has a copy of the brochure, so you could print out as need be, or I could reach out to Aaron, or I'll try to make something happen to make sure if there's an event coming, you can say, Empress, can you make this amount of copies for me of the brochure? Because I just don't want any of us there at an event and we're tabling and we have no information to hand out. It looks bad. It makes us all look bad. So that's how I want to go forward with that. Linda? You want to add to that?
Yeah, I just felt, I didn't have, the other tables all had information. I didn't have anything. And my expectation was that someone was bringing it. So that was just a little problematic. Because I think the GCC and at that event, particularly was a good opportunity to talk to people. And I'd love to see somebody from GCC on the commission. So that was just a little disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think it was clear. I feel like no one's saying it was me, but I have some brochures that I kept, but I think in the future, if we're tabling an event, I didn't know I was considered tabling because I had said I have the baby that day, so I thought I would be walking around. I wasn't setting up a table and handing out brochures because I would make that commitment knowing I had, the baby. And I know I said that, so my apologies where the confusion came in. I didn't know I was responsible for the brochures. And I think for future reference, it would be great to touch base the night before via a text or a phone call, because I'll be quite honest, I'm not in business anymore where I'm looking at my email every 30 seconds. I do look at it, but I wasn't looking at it at 9:05 this morning. You know what I mean? So I think for future reference, if people are doing something and they have expectations of someone, that we just have a little bit more of a conversation right beforehand, so everyone's on the same page. Like if I knew you wanted brochures, I kept some extra, but I didn't get new ones from Aaron for this event. But I probably have 12, but I certainly could have, Linda could have stopped by, I could have run them out, any of those things could have happened, but so. Again, my apologies, not anything, but I never thought that I was responsible for the brochures today.
Yep, and that's definitely no problem, but it's like, take for instance, somebody sitting, not saying you, but if somebody is on a subcommittee for community projects and outreach and things like that, then there's certain things, especially if we've talked about this this wasn't something that was just done, we've planned for this for the past couple months. So we already knew it was in the minutes that these events was going on. People signed up who was going to be there, who wouldn't be there. So therefore, if you're on these subcommittees and you know, we're gonna handle community projects, if there's things that we need for these projects. So therefore, if you serve on those committees, then you have to make sure that the materials are readily available. No, I'm not going to remind, once you sign up for that event, I'm not gonna remind anybody that you signed up for an event. You signed up for it, you know, and not only that, but it's in the minutes. So it's very important that if you sign up that you're gonna table out an event, that you have to make the notes in on your planner, on your calendar, on your to-do list, with the alarm on your phone, however you do it, as set your reminder.
No, I
That,
understand all
that you
that,
have to, that I signed up to do this event, and going forward, that's how it is. I mean, there's really no, like, cause I just feel bad the way it played out, but I'm just saying that just going forward, if we say we're going to table at an event, then the individuals or whoever's on that subcommittee having these events has to make sure that everybody that's going to be there has these materials. It's only fair.
So I have a question. Is it possible, I don't know, from a space perspective or whatever, but if there was a tote that simply had the materials, then we know we can come, pick it up and check it out a few days ahead of time to make sure that what we need is in there. And then if we need to have something printed, we ask to have it printed, but it's there to take and then to bring back.
Yeah, because usually how it was when I used to be on the events committee, I would come get like the banner and certain things like that. If we was gonna have representation at an event, I would come up here, I would meet with Matt and pick up the banner, get like help with like, because we didn't have brochures. Brochures was something brand new that one of our last commissioners came up with. So that was like huge, so we really didn't have that part of it. But as far as if we was tabling at an event, I would make sure like the brochures was there, we was gonna have snacks or whatever, that's what it is. So it's just like I said, at the end of the day, it's really no problem. It's just like just going forward. If you sign up for an event, you have to make sure you have everything you need for an event. So even if something happens at the last minute, at least somebody's not gonna be out in the cold with nothing. So that's why I'm gonna take it upon myself just to make sure everybody has a copy of the PDF for the new brochure. So if there is an event and say if like me and Kathleen and Nate signed up for an event, that we would have that conversation and be like, okay, so Nate, you want to do brochures? And like Empress, I'll grab the banner, or Kathleen, I'll do this. So you guys could work together. Okay, so that's how it would go forward.
When I know the next topic is probably talking about the calendar stuff that I'll be doing, but I can always make a QR code of the brochure. And so when I turn in the calendar for the year and for this year, next year, that QR code can be on the calendar on paper, so you guys can scan it, go on your phone or whatever and print it. Also too is how I keep myself needed is just a file folder. Just print it in all out, put it in a file folder, have the name on it, and when you go out and table, bring that with you, take it with you. And have at least 30 to 40 copies and bring it out. I usually, every event I go to, I always have brochures. I always find the PDF and I print it out. So it's not hard to find it, but it is a good resource to have though.
Thank you. So like I said, I'm gonna send that out to everybody, so everybody has a copy. So if you are going to an event, everybody will have a way to get the file, okay?
Does the brochure itself also have in a corner somewhere a date? So we know when the latest version of it is?
Well, we're
I
gonna,
don't think
sorry.
so.
We're gonna edit it anyway, me and you, to put that hybrid
And the QR
and
code.
the QR code there. So when we do that on the bottom, we can add, this was made June 15th of this date.
That way we just know what version.
The
We've
update.
got the.
And we can always change the title of it too. So
So the version that I'm gonna send out right now is the original PDF without the.
Without the update.
Right. So like when Nate does that, then.
Then we'll get the latest.
Right.
Got it.
Yes.
I'm just not clear how brochures get printed.
Usually it's through, you could reach out to the mayor's office. they could print it. I know one time when I was printing some out, I either did it at my house or sometimes I could get it at Staples. It just depends, you know, Aaron was very nice the last, what was it for Memorial Day? When
No,
Aaron-
it's for Beef
For
Fest
Beef
and
Fest.
I picked them up and I have some in my car and I brought them to the past. I had tried the past 3 events that I've been to.
I would just support then what Linda said, that there be a place with a bag with, next to the banner. And there's, we've talked about other banners coming that are smaller or table.
Right, I don't think
Things
we
and
were gonna
stuff.
bring the banner.
That's what I'm saying, but these all need to be in one place. I mean, I do a lot of stuff with the library. And when we table, we go to one place and they're all there. And when it gets to be a mayor, you know, the library will print 100 copies or whatever. When people see it going down, the library prints some more copies. And I think it would be the same with the mayor's office, that those are there because, again, I'm new to this. And if I said, okay, I'll take charge of that, other people will come help. I need to know where to go and pick it up in one spot.
And what time, and there's a sign out.
Right, so it
Sign
has,
out.
unfortunately,
Sign
hasn't
it
worked
out.
that way, right?
And-
It's been,
Oh, okay, so what we could do, so, but it would per se, like the only thing that would be different, it would really wouldn't be up to Matt or Aaron to check to see when the flyers are low.
No, it's up to us.
Right, exactly. It would be definitely up to us and just
We
like.
bring it
Yeah.
back, we say, oh,
We need some more copies.
We need some more
Right.
copies.
So right now, who we have on community projects right now, okay, is basically Kathleen and Nate. There's still another position open on community events for that subcommittee if somebody else wants to join. You know, it's definitely something you could think about, and if so, just let us know and we can go about it next month.
and I mean, I
Or
can
whenever
try
you-
working with Erin and making a bag. I think it's a great idea. We just haven't done it. But I.
And if it's more
We
stuff,
could do our own stuff outside of.
even something that's on wheels,
Mhm.
that's just, well, seriously.
What would we need on wheels? So it's a banner.
I'm just saying, I don't know all of the pieces of the puzzle. So if the pieces of the puzzle include a banner, they include brochures, and there was a tabletop or whatever that was folded up, it's in a little tote.
Mhm.
You put it on wheels, you schlep it wherever you need to do without somebody worrying about lifting things and whatever.
Yeah.
Which, until we get our, younger than 40.
Right. I don't think, to my knowledge, we don't have a table, but I could be wrong.
So I'm saying if, I'm just saying at some point if.
That'd be nice.
So Linda, maybe that's something
Yeah.
would you like to consider being on that subcommittee? Or just think about it? I'm just gonna,
The only issue I have is the potential of the number of events.
okay,
Okay,
Mhm.
so the pieces, I mean, I know some months are busier than others,
Mhm.
but with all of the other pieces, I don't want to be necessarily committing to,
Mhm.
oh, there are 6 events in June.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be doing 6 events in June.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Mhm.
so I want that to be a reasonable piece. Yes, I'd consider it. You're talking to an event planner.
Mhm.
So, it's somewhat logical.
Yes, Patty?
I think if you knew in advance, that there's 6 events.
Right, and he's giving us a calendar.
I could discuss it and, I can't do 6, I could do 3, I could do 1. But the other thing is to open up the banner. Banner's too big.
Right.
We need a new banner. Yes, we addressed that the last meeting and we said we would move that down further down because that's not really one of the, because we have so many other different projects we're working with the logo and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's definitely something that we did.
And maybe
discuss.
Get
the logo, it'll be.
Right. That would make sense.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so that's why we said, Patty, that we would hold off on that because that could go on our new
A
banner.
little square one would be nice, like, even what about like a little, like,
Okay, so the next event that's coming up is going to be Juneteenth.
You're,
Your thing.
Nate is actually also gonna be one of the opening speakers this year. Right. So there's actually numerous events for Juneteenth this year. And it's really great because it's kind of like started from a seed that I basically watered and let it grow. And this is where we are. And I'm very proud of the community of Greenfield, no matter what, because the negative I got, I've always gotten more love and support behind it. So this year is going to be the first ever Juneteenth proclamation at City Hall. That's going to be on Thursday, right out here on the grounds.
Oh.
12 o'clock, 12 noon, Twice as Smart is gonna be opening up. The kids are gonna be singing and stuff. Matt worked the other day with me to send out the invitations. We invited community members, officials, Jesse Dean, and almost every organization I could think of in Greenfield. From the Wildflower Alliance and everybody up in Bay State, everybody. I invited everybody. So because this is a community thing and I want us as a community to be really proud of where we are. So that's going to be Thursday, June 19th at 12. And then the event is actually going to be on the Saturday, the 21st. It's going to be right after Farmers Market because Farmers Market ends at 1:30 and we'll start setting up. So my Juneteenth starts from 2 to 7. It's also going to be the first ever award ceremony. That's going to be from 6 to 6:30. I have 14 different community members and organizations that's going to be award receiving trophies this year. And then after that, it's going to be the first ever Juneteenth dance party at the Moose Lodge. That's going to be from 7 to 10. And Mesa Verde is going to be catering the event.
Lovely. Do we buy tickets?
No tickets, it's like a $10 donation
Oh,
at the
okay.
door. So basically it's like, it's not so much if you don't have $10, if you have $1, or if you don't have nothing, that's not gonna stop you from walking in that door. Cause it's more so about somewhere where the community can come together, everybody come together and just have fun.
I can commit to being there at noon on the 19th.
Okay. Thanks. Yes,
This
I
sounds great, but we didn't get an invitation.
didn't get an invitation.
Oh,
No,
Invitation was to everybody, so it's been all over the.
it's on Facebook and
It's not a private event.
Yeah,
It's public.
you said you sent them to everybody, to all these different people. I was.
No, she sent them to organization.
To the organization,
Well, there is the Human Rights Commission.
because it's in a,
but we're a commission.
Exactly.
Not an organization, so it's a little different.
Fine, there I go again. Thank you.
okay.
Right.
And this is your invitation package. You don't get an email, you get it right from the horse.
You have the pleasure of being
Right.
the person.
So what could get more personal inviting than that,
I
right?
think the sweater would be good for the event. I'm gonna bring the baby who just happens to be part Jamaican. Oh. Then do you want to see him?
Not right now.
Not right now. It's awful cute.
Yes, Nate.
June 21st, it's at what time, sorry?
2 to 7,
2 to 7, I just want to make sure.
yes.
2 to 7.
So at 2
That's-
o'clock,
And
it's
from
on the
7
common.
then from 7 to 9 is at the Moose Lodge.
7 to 10.
7 to 10.
Yes, 7 to 10 is at the most. Here you go, the schedule is on back.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
You can attach.
Have one.
Hard
Yes, yes, you do have one.
I have one.
Oh, you have one? Okay.
celebration. I think I have one too, but I'll take another. I'll give it to my grandchildren. Maybe I could bring Preston. He's off school and.
Yeah, so the schedule is on the back, so, yeah. Yeah, so that's it for Juneteenth. And Nate, on the calendar, the Human Rights Watch.
So I would like everyone, not giving a strict deadline here, using my teacher now stuff. By Friday, if there's events that you want on the calendar, please send them via email. I have the calendar, I just need to put them in there and print
Like
them
Bee
out.
Fest.
Everything for this year, to December, to next year, to next July. We're gonna do it from this time of June to next July.
Okay,
And that's all gonna be on one paper, but I need all your events by this Friday. If not this Friday, by next Monday. Cause I'm off school this Friday, so it gives me time to work on stuff. So I can work on the calendar, you just gotta send me the events. And if there's events that are not happening in Franklin County, but are happening other places that you might want us to be at, that's totally fine too. As long as I have them and I have the time and date and address, I can put it on the date. And I'll also make sure that our meeting dates are also there as well.
So my question is, like today's event at GCC, what list are we on or are you on to have gotten notification about that event? Or the one that we did, the month prior?
What
I haven't a clue to
Yeah.
Right.
where to even start to look for things that
I mean, I-
would be appropriate.
The city calendar has like not the city calendar, but the like GCT, not GCTV, Greenfield Recorder has most of the events like on their calendar and it shows like the times and stuff. But you also can do is like I just literally walk around and I try to find events that I could just look for. And I attach my email to every single buddy. So if there's events that they might want people to be at, they just send it to me and I'm like, all right, I'll share it to people that might be able to go.
Yeah,
That's really all that is. Like,
Mhm.
there's no like big flyer, there's nothing big. It's just they invite you. I'm also in touch with Judy Raver. I'm also in touch with the president at GCC. I don't mind emailing them and being like, hey, can you send me a list of your events from now to the end of next year? If there's
We can
events,
see
if there's events that they need us to be at, then we can go and I can add it on the calendar.
exactly. And to answer your question, Linda, what happens this event today? I know the last one prior, they reached out to me personally about tabling opportunities.
Got it.
So in this case, I would just email Nate and he could update the calendar with those events. So it would just.
Yeah,
I can-
you can all.
No, I was just laughing because when you say, tell us everything that's happening in the next year. Sorry, I just fell off my chair laughing, but thank you for your endeavor. And I do appreciate it.
And if there's anything that needs to be added on there, just let me know. I'm willing to add it on there and I'm willing to reprint it. It's also gonna be a PDF copy too, and it's a digital, so every time I add something on there, you guys will be notified via email when there's something added on there.
Sounds good. Progress. I like it. Yes, boss.
I don't know if this belongs on there, because it's not events per se, but if you look, when you get a chance to look through the procedure things, it goes month by month. So for instance, the day the applications are due, the time in November when the committee would be reading applications. I don't know if that's something we want on our calendar.
I
And
mean,
you could put it on temporarily because we haven't voted on this yet.
we can, but the issue is every month, are we gonna have a application in our hand? Not really. So I think that
No, I'm talking about for November, every year we would, exactly on those times.
I will have to come back.
That's what I'm saying, look at it.
I will look, when I look at it and see where I can fit it at,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
You'll see.
Oh, and they just have a separate timeline for this kind of thing.
Okay.
Well, right.
Now, next on the agenda is planning for July 14th. We picked a date at the last meeting for Wendy Goodman for the City Hall reveal when her name would be engraved on the Human Rights Commission. This is actually going to be on the same date as, I forget it. Oh, I thought I was just.
It's our
making it tail,
meeting,
okay.
right?
Yeah, so it's going to be in the same date as our meeting. I know you can't be there. But it would be on that Monday on our regular meeting time for July 14th. I'm gonna connect with Matt, because that's who helped with Gloria Matlock's engraving, so we can get together and work on the engraving and let Wendy know. But just so everybody knows, we did confirm that date would be for July 14th for Wendy. Okay, yes, Pat?
Yeah, and everything is closed except us by 6 o'clock. It is that evening, the 14th.
Mhm.
So Matt will be here, or what's going to happen? She's already gotten the award.
No, okay. So what happens, the award ceremony is not just that piece. There's two pieces to it. There's the award ceremony for the public, and then she gets her name engraved on the wall. The Human Rights Commission plaque that's in the hallway. So she would have her own name saying it would be the 2025 Human Rights Commission Award recipient. So that's more like a private ceremony. So it would be the commissioners, it'll be Wendy. We had GCTV here. for that. And like Lori invited her kids and some of her friends. So that's just us. Okay. So, and what happens, like the last time they had like, what was it, like a blanket? They had a blanket,
Yeah.
over the plaque. So when
If you
people
revealed,
then it
did a
was
reveal.
reveal. Yeah. So that's what that is. Yeah.
So it's just the Human Rights Commission.
Correct.
All of us,
Correct.
and Wendy.
And whoever she wants to
The
bring. Yes.
recipient.
Correct.
That's it.
And GCTV.
CTV.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the clarification.
All right, so now, we're gonna jump back over. This is continued discussion regarding the single payer healthcare as a resolution from the Human Rights Commission. We did have discussion April 14th, it was first introduced. Paul did a great job working on that. Jeff, I believe it was Paul and Linda. You had some. It was Paul, Linda,
Mostly.
almost, okay. Yeah, I want to give credit where credit's due.
It's fine.
I should
It
give
doesn't
credit.
matter.
Yeah, so they was able to make this draft and present it to the body last month. Nate was not here last month, so this will be the second go round for discussion. That's why we tabled it, so that everybody could get a better sense or a better feel after reading it again to get more understanding and know what our next steps is. So Paul, you want to add anything more to it?
Just that since then I gave it to 2 or 3 people who are, have been working for 20 or 30 years on single payer healthcare and said, is this absolutely accurate? And I also gave it to people to read for grammar and things of that nature. Well, it didn't find much, but we found a few. And the only other thing about it is in discussing it we talked about this as our resolution, which it would be, and would be sent to the city council as a resolution. In speaking to a number of city councilors just about resolutions, they suggested that many times it is much easier to get a vote from the council, unanimous vote from the council, and send a letter from the head of the council to whatchamacallit, to in this case,
Review.
to politicos who are asking to sponsor or co-sponsor bills. And so that would be the only suggestion that I've had. I actually have 2 suggestions. The second suggestion is we're waiting. I have in there $3 million. And that was done accurately on older healthcare costs for the city. And so I don't know if you know G. Atkins and David Cohn, they have put a request into the finance director to give us the current ones. So we could have the most current,
Current number for health insurance, what we pay as a city.
yeah.
But what also, I think. the 3 million was
It's
what
for
we
health,
saved.
it's for healthcare. And we were looking for 2 different numbers, one for the whole city and the other was just for education. Because we talked about them in 2 different places.
They are paid together. They aren't separated.
They're never separated.
And what's?
Not for employees, like teachers and all schools.
Well, and for retirees, et cetera, it's all together. It's never separated. Okay,
I can give you that number right now. Literally.
okay.
3 million the cost or?
No, 3 million is the saving.
Would be the savings, that's what I
This is what we need the cost to calculate, like
calculate.
to
savings.
give you an idea, for instance. And this is how we're asking for this to be done, because we're also asking for the mayor to support this, is just 2 days ago, the city of Pittsfield sent a letter, and I can send it all out to you now that we've had a meeting, signed by the head of their city council and their mayor, supporting single-payer healthcare on the 4 bills that are in the State House. And what we're asking in addition is for our city council and the mayor to also do that for federal bills. That's the only difference. But to give you an idea, for Pittsfield, they wouldn't save $3 to $5 million. They're saving $19 million
Huge.
on it. So go ahead.
Our employee health insurance costs for FY 26 are $10,652,707.
$10 million,
$652,000. $652,707.
707.
We also pay,
This is 2025, 2026.
this is FY 26, so it's
Starting in
Close to
July.
$11 million.
Starts July 1. Our Medicare, we also pay our Medicare city match of $530,000.
530,000.
That includes all city employees, including school employees
Right.
and retirees. So.
Okay,
and that is
that's exactly what we need.
20% from last year.
20%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last I had heard was 16.
And that's you
You'd see it's even gone up
For
more.
health insurance, our city contribution for health insurance. And don't forget, each employee pays deductibles and premiums out of pocket as well.
Right, and they would have, with single payer healthcare, all of it would be less. The city would be saving millions, and each of us would be saving thousands.
Contributing less to what they pay for healthcare. Do you
Healthcare
know
now.
the average of what a city employee pays monthly?
I
for
do not
healthcare?
because I don't
Right.
use the city health.
Right,
insurance.
because I used to know it, but it's considerable. Like I know for Verizon years and years ago, and I'll just be really quick. Before we went on strike for the first time in a long time, let me see, when it was like 13 years ago, we paid nothing, which is unheard of now. We were then ordered to pay $10 a week, and slowly over contracts it went up. When I left last year for a single person, I can't complain, but a lot of people found it to be very upsetting because we used to pay nothing. I paid $30 a week for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Most of my co-friends are paying 5 times that much for their Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I can't imagine that city employees, and I'm sure we could ask the Greenfield, aren't paying,
Right.
a decent amount
Right.
for it.
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks for all of this. Thanks to all of you. So Chair, are we in a position now to say we would like the Human Rights Commission to take this resolution to the city council?
No, we're not at that point yet. And the reason why is because this was presented last month, and it's very important, not for me just as chair, but as a community member, to hear other voices in the community. And a lot of individuals that I speak to that are in shelters or homeless does not see this as a priority. Okay, they do not see this as an immediate need. They're more concerned, if you're talking to people in the tent community, they're concerned about their tents or their areas being flooded out. That is frontline work. Okay, so this right here, I mean, I love the idea, but the immediate needs not getting met. Going into some of these some of these family shelters and meeting with the families and talking to them about what their human rights are and how to file grievances if they feel their rights are being trampled on, and giving them a voice to speak up against abuse and neglect. Yes, I think that that's an immediate need, because a lot of families in shelters, when they're in a shelter, if something's wrong, who they call? They call DCF, and the kids get taken away from them. A lot of people who's living homeless in the woods with their kids, if the schools find out, they're taking their kids away, and they have nobody, no voice to fight that. If you talk to those people, they're not worried about their health care. They're just trying to keep their family together.
absolutely understandable.
Mhm.
However, if the city has another $5 million to put towards homeless services because they're not paying it,
Mhm.
they're not paying it in, now, is this going to happen tomorrow? We've been trying for years for single payer healthcare. But if you have that money that could then go to dealing with some of these homeless issues,
Mhm.
because it's not going to the medical insurance companies, you are seriously putting funds towards a homeless issue.
If
I don't-
that's gonna go to a homeless.
Well, I understand that, but at the moment you can't even go there because the money is so, is so.
I
Right,
agree.
is so focused on that.
So-
As well as when that homeless person walks into the emergency room down the street, and who's paying for that and how is it being paid for? I don't think that they're mutually exclusive, is I think is what I'm saying. I think that this can be also a priority with the hope and with the um, hopefully pressure from the community that those savings are going to, or some of that savings is going to go towards the homeless community.
I believe that there's gonna be more pushback against it. And like I said, this is from me after 30 days of reading the room. Okay, this, because like I said, when I was very optimistic. But like I said, sometimes you can't go off of your feelings. You have to read the room. Because it's not about what we feel is right, it's about what the community feels, because community we serve. And the reading the room for the past 30 days since it was presented and went out there is not a good one, because it's not addressing the immediate needs of our homeless population here in Greenfield. And I have to agree. Like, how many times has the Human Rights Commissioners, I believe you came with me that time, right? Have we went out and visited the tent community? Why can't that be a priority for us to go out there and talk to these people? How can we help you? I mean, are you being harassed? What can we do to help you? Why can't that be a priority? To start having these conversations with those individuals. What are your needs? I think it's only fair because we could be their voice and be their advocates for them. Like, they're a marginalized population and they need somebody to go out there. I have no problem going to the tent community. I've done it before. We've done it before.
Right, I take people in my
Yes,
car.
yes, I'll go out to the tent community. There's an area over there behind Greenfield Gardens. We could go over there, sit down, talk to the people, and have these conversations with the people who our focus is this year, and start there. And be like, how can we as a commission help you? How can we as a commission support your right? How can we as a commission, as a body, give you a voice?
And where is that money going to come from?
What, going out and talking to them?
No, I'm not talking about, when somebody says, this is what we need,
Mhm,
this is what we need.
mhm.
Then I'm not saying not have the conversations, absolutely have the conversations.
Mhm.
But the next step is then where do the funds come to fulfill that need?
Absolutely.
Once the need is, and that's where I'm circling back to say, this may be a source.
Absolutely. Nate,
That's-
I'm coming right to you, but those conversations has to happen first. Because supporting the people that's in those communities is of the most importance. And we need to give them the support that they need. Because, and yes, there's groups out there that do it, but I feel as human rights commissioners, we need to support their human rights. And a lot of people out there, it's about to be summertime. We have to make sure that they, what do you need? Are you okay? Do you feel safe? Work with agencies to make sure that these people are okay. Yes, Nate.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I was homeless for 2 years with my family. We didn't worry about our health insurance. We worried about what's the food gonna come on the table? What clothes are we gonna wear? What socks are we gonna wear the next day, right? Those are rights that people need to worry about. These are things that are happening in our everyday life. Greenfield and Franklin County and all of Franklin County, Greenfield has the biggest homeless population. There's people living on our city streets, people living behind my house. I live in a low income housing. There's tents behind my house. I drop off food to them. I go and say hi to them. That is what we are supposed to do as city officials, as community members. Yes, is health insurance very important? It's always important. Everybody should have health insurance, right? But if it's a way to have them feel comfortable around people like us, people who want to support them, want to have their voices heard, then we, like Empress said, go out there, talk to them, get them support, or giving them the resources like the FERCog, like community action. There's so many resources out there that they don't know because city officials don't go out there and publicize. They don't go out there and talk about those, right? We sit there and we talk about it in meetings, but do we go actually talk to these people? No, we don't talk to these people. But if we sit there and we talk to these people and we give them ideas of how to grow as people, how to get a job, how to prepare for a job, Mass Hire does that. There's so many resources around Franklin County for youth and for grown adults. As a kid who was in the foster system when my parents were homeless, those issues still happen to this day. And it happens to mostly Black families and white families as well too, but it mostly happens to Black families. So we need to look at that, and we need to look at demographics. We need to look at what is our main priority. And health insurance, hey, it is a main priority, but it's not the priority that Greenfield citizens need right now. And we are sworn in by the Constitution to sworn in for the city and the people of Greenfield. Right? And that is, I think, is very important on my side.
Thank you, Nate. Aaron?
I am gonna suggest it's also 7:30, so this probably should wrap up soon. And I know Empress is staying on top of it, but you know, sometimes I need to check it. Also, and you guys need to check and read through the charter and what you're told to do in the charter. And I do think that a big role is advocacy for people who are experiencing human rights violations. And I do think, the potential for that is rampant within that community, and that should probably be a priority. And I would agree, I'm not saying that's my official capacity at the moment, and me as a citizen right now, but I do think here is a human right. But I think that there are other things the charter says need to be really, maybe my thought is just go through what the charter says and see the role of advocacy is important. Okay, now official hat back on.
So we're gonna wrap up, we have to wrap up in the next 2 minutes, so no, you can't speak longer than 30 seconds.
Okay,
Okay, because it's still 7:33, all right. So was it Packy or,
I think I would.
okay,
Yeah, we can chew gum and walk at the same time. We could bring to the city council this, and it would not have any effect on what we're doing with the homeless. That's.
I just want
Kathleen?
to say that from a personal point, as a person who was homeless with 3 young children and came here to Greenfield, having to get on Mass Health was hard for me, but I did have to do it because I had a child with a really bad health condition. But I think we can kind of serve both. And I think that everyone in the state of Massachusetts is entitled to health care. And if we could even hit the homeless population and be an advocate for them to sign up if they don't already have it, that might be a great place to start.
Thank you, Kathleen. Follow up on-
I just want to reiterate what Patty said. I would absolutely want to join what you and Kathleen and what Nate do with the homeless population, and to meet them and to know them. That is totally this. If we voted to do this, that would be the last effort that we need to put into it. And if you really did read the stuff that I put in there about the relationship between homelessness, how it leads to homelessness, an immense number of people become homeless because of costs. And the second thing is many people who are homeless leads to long-term health issues because they don't have access to help. And so all I'm saying, we could vote on this, would be the last thing we'd need to do with it. It goes to the city council and they deal with it. And then we should start what you're saying we should be.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna table it because it's for more further discussion. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay.